Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and we're back here at the Baseball Hut too. I came across this story. It's very disturbing. And very I hope it's not. I hope this doesn't happen. From Odyssey.com. Now, before we get into this, please of course subscribe and like this video. You know, I'm a Mets fan. I'm very interested in Jacob deGrom and what his future holds in the major leagues. Odyssey.com. Headline: Renowned orthopedic surgeon has doubts about deGrom's chances of full comeback. Now, as you know, he just recently got Tommy John surgery, which means he had the ligament in his right elbow replaced. The article goes, the baseball world was rocked early this month by the news that two-time Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom would need Tommy John surgery to repair a torn ligament in his right elbow. It marked the second time that the 35-year-old deGrom has had the surgery, and it figured to sideline him for at least a calendar year. Talk is he's not going to come back till 2025. The Rangers ace was emotional but predictably defiant after getting the bad news, bound to take on the challenging post-surgery rehabilitation. But at least one noted orthopedic surgeon has his doubts about deGrom and the outlook for any pitcher trying to come back from Tommy John surgery, let alone a second such procedure. And this sort of the layman's look at it is that the pitcher will come back if you don't harder. Now this, a lot of times that doesn't happen. Sometimes pitchers take a long time to come back. We saw with Zach Wheeler when he was with the New York Mets. It took him 2 years to get back on the mound. He missed all of 2015, all of 2016. And then when he pitched in 2017, he wasn't that good. And then 2018, it took him a long time to make it back. And of course, Noah Syndergaard basically lost 2 years of his career, and he has not recovered. He's bounced around since he left the Mets. Dr. Richard Lehman, medical director at the U.S. Center for Sports Medicine in St. Louis, addressed the deGrom situation and other baseball injuries on the Odyssey original podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring, hosted by Rob Bradford. Lehman told Bradford that while medical advances have fueled that seemingly common misunderstanding that Tommy John surgery is no big deal or that some pitchers actually come back better from it, a second Tommy John surgery, especially for an older hurler, can be especially difficult. As you get older, it takes longer to heal. That's just a common thing. Quote, the first thing is about 25% of all Major League Baseball pitchers, 30% are going to end up with the Tommy John reconstruction. That's a pretty high number. Number two, everybody thinks, hey, if I get Tommy John, I'm going to throw harder, which is a misconception. And number three, chance of pitching 3 years after your second Tommy John is not that great. So yes, some guys come back and just sail, and then some guys you never hear of again. They just can't come back, can't make it back. And that number is a higher percentage than you think. So a second Tommy John's not a good thing. Now we know with the deGrom that he's had all kinds of injuries. So, the major one that he had last year was to the top of his shoulder, which he kind of partially tore the scapula, which is that middle bone in your shoulder right here. He kind of sort of tore that, and it took him like half the season to come back. deGrom, this guy was throwing 97. He was unbelievable, untouchable. But again, if you drive your car 200,000 miles as fast as you can, something's going to happen, and that's what happened. That's been the problem with him. I think he's just throwing too damn hard. And he's a wiry guy, Quote, but I think specifically the second Tommy John is not like the first. It's not getting out of the way. It's not on the ledge. I may be able to come back. I may not be able to come back. And I'm certainly not going to be able to perform as well as I did before I had my second one. Of course, there are exceptions to every rule. For deGrom to find inspiration and his comeback, he can look no further than a fellow Rangers starting pitcher, veteran right-hander Nathan Eovaldi had Tommy John surgery in high school and again as a professional in 2016. 7 years later, at age 33, Eovaldi's now enjoying one of his finest seasons in the majors. Still, now in this video, in this article, Eovaldi had it in high school. So when you're younger, it's probably easy to recover from it than when you get older. Quote, now there's going to be outliers. And there's going to be that guy who just lights it up or changes his pitching pattern or picks up a new pitch. And clearly that does happen. The ability to throw hard and have endurance diminishes after a second reconstruction. Unfortunately, it seems that cavalier attitudes toward a major surgical procedure like Tommy John have even filtered down to young baseball players and their parents. Lehman says he frequently receives calls from the parents of high schools who are interested in undergoing the procedure of hopes of gaining an increase in arm strength and velocity. Quote, and then after you get done scratching your head and dropping the phone, you pick the phone back up and say, we can't operate on your son or daughter's normal elbow. That happens twice a week, all the time. The ligament you have is fine until you tear it. So this is very unfortunate. I mean, I kind of mentioned it here and there that the chances of him coming back at full strength a second time, it's not very good for deGrom. But we keep our fingers crossed. We say prayers for him, and we'll see what happens. But thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut 2. Thank you, and I'll see you later.